BioVie is innovative in the biotech space, particularly with medications related to Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and other diseases that manifest with aging. And with me is the CEO, Cuong Do, to talk about what all you're working on. And you're very innovative in these things that you're doing. So give me an overview of the company, and let's talk about some of your particular products then after that.
Thank you, Jane, for having me here today. BioVie has a molecule called NE3107 in the clinic right now for Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. 3107 is unlike any other molecule in development because it blocks inflammation and insulin resistance at the central node. We recently released data from a phase 2 study in Alzheimer's disease showing that we reversed the cognitive decline associated with Alzheimer's. Now, this is a small study, it's still early days, but we're very encouraged with this data, and we can't wait for our larger phase 3 trial in Alzheimer's to be read out middle of next year.
Okay.
In addition to that, we have a trial in Parkinson's disease that we will be reading out before the end of this year as well.
Okay, so let's just stop for a second, because you mentioned it reversed the effects of Alzheimer's, which, to the best of my knowledge, the best we've been able to do is slow it a little bit, right? So far with these studies. Like we just had one from Roche that really kind of is a disappointment. But this is unique, right? The reversal.
It is very unique. I'm very sad for the community of what happened to the Roche molecule. I'm very excited about Biogen and Eisai's molecule, lecanemab, when about a month ago, they announced that the drug slowed the cognitive decline, right? And that drug is up in front of FDA in January. I'm very, very hopeful that that will get approved, because that will be the first significant advancement in the field, right? And it just slowed the cognitive decline by 27%. Instead of that, what we saw with this drug is that we reversed the cognitive decline. So patients on our treatment, after 3 months, saw an improvement in their cognition.
Yeah, no, that's huge. So you're doing a follow-up trial with more of a sample size. So that's the next step, right?
That's correct. This trial is well underway. And we expect it to be fully enrolled within the coming months. And then we expect to provide top-line data end of next summer, early next fall.
Okay. And then let's talk about the Parkinson's as well. So there's a clinical trial going on now for your Parkinson's treatment?
Yes, there's a clinical trial that actually is almost finished. The trial is fully enrolled, and we expect to provide top-line data by the end of this year.
Okay. So explain how your approach is different from some of the other things we're seeing. Why were you able to to have this molecule and have the success you've seen so far versus what we've seen from some of the big pharmaceutical companies?
Frankly, Jane, sometimes in life, it's far better to be lucky than good.
Okay.
And we just need to be good enough to know when we're lucky. And that's what we were. This molecule was originally brought into the clinic as a drug for diabetes. But we then noticed actions or profile that was unusual, right? And ultimately, when we studied the mechanism of action, we learned that it shuts down or it modulates the production of TNF-alpha, which is known as the master regulator of inflammation. And how this is different than all other prior efforts in Alzheimer's is that other efforts tries to block the production of amyloid plaque or tau tangles. And in recent years, we learned that that in and of themselves are not the cause of the cognitive decline, but instead they are contributing to inflammation, right? And so if you shut down the production of plaques, chances are you're shutting down only the inflammation that is being driven by the plaques, right? And so instead of just shutting down any one particular path, NE3107 shuts down all of inflammation, regardless of the origin of the stimulus.
It's kind of amazing how sometimes when you think outside of the box, you can make a discovery of something else, and it sounds like that's what happened here with you.
That's exactly what happened. This drug was in the clinic for diabetes, and in the phase 2 trial, we saw that it reversed insulin resistance. But it did a bunch of other things as well. And when we studied why it did the other things, it then led us to understand that it's truly shutting down inflammation. And once you shut down inflammation, it leads to all the downstream benefits.
So let's say that the trials turn out to continue to show success with this. Will you partner with a pharmaceutical company? Will you pursue this on your own? What's your approach and your strategy then?
We are We have everything on the table. We're really focused first and foremost, how do we bring this to market to help the patient community as best we can, right? And we are in discussions with other potential partners, so we'll see how those conversations go. But we're also very open to doing this ourselves if we cannot create the right kind of partnership to help patients.
Well, and it would be a huge breakthrough because Alzheimer's is such a emotional and financially difficult disease for so many people.
Most of the leaders on our team are affected directly by family members and friends. So for us, this is a cause of passion-driven cause. And so we are very much focused on what can we do to help the patient community, and then everything else flows from there.
Well, I hope you come back and share some of these clinical trial results with us, because it's very exciting to see such promising.
I can't wait to come back, and especially to share the results of our Parkinson's trial that we will provide before the end of the year.
And that'll be coming very soon. So, all right, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you, Jane, for having me.